Unpacking. Remove the pieces of the automatic retractable hard tonneau cover from the box. The tonneau cover can be best assembled on the floor or on a workbench, being careful not to scratch the parts. Verify that everything is there. Before starting the installation, please make sure that all pieces listed in the instruction manual are included in the product package. Have all the materials and tools required to make the installation, as detailed in the instruction manual. Throughout this video, when we use the term rear, we mean the area by the truck's tailgate. When we use the term front, we mean the area closest to the truck's cab. Preparing the truck bed. The tonneau cover was developed to be installed on top of the bed rail of the truck. Thus, the top of the sides must be free from any other automotive accessories, such as edged sidewall protectors and sport bars. All of the top surfaces of the sidewall top must be first cleaned with water and detergent, and then wiped with isopropyl alcohol. Most truck models have open seams on the end wall beneath the back window. Through these seams, water and dust enter the trunk. Therefore, we recommend that these seams are sealed with black polyurethane caulk. Detach the upper edge of the bed liner and clean the top sidewall edge with isopropyl alcohol and apply the primer, allowing the primer to dry for 5 minutes before proceeding. Glue down the rubber spacers. Then apply the thin rubber sealant strip to the inner part of the sidewall edges in a U-shape. This rubber strip ensures that the cover will seal correctly. Assembling the product. Before assembling, make sure that the aluminum edge of the mechanism cover comes into full contact with the front edge of the mechanism case. Take the side rail and remove the rubber sealing strip from it. Do not fit the cover with the rubber on the inside. This detail is essential to avoid the malfunctioning of the product. Lightly thread the bolts to the 2 sides of the rails. Do not tighten yet. Once all the bolts are lightly in position, they can be tightened. We recommend using a torque wrench set to 15 Newton meters. The support of the mechanism case end cap is tightened by applying a torque of 10 Newton meters. Before continuing, check that the tonneau material alignment matches the picture. Testing the operation. Before performing the test, connect the wiring harness to the battery of the vehicle and to the electric cable of the mechanism case. Begin installing the harness by connecting or grounding its negative end to the body of the truck, where the negative cable from the battery is grounded. Then, connect the positive end to the battery's positive terminal, making sure not to invert the polarity, and connect to the wiring harness of the mechanism case. In hybrid vehicles, the battery is located under the rear seat. Activate the factory-coded remote control. Test the operation of the automatic retractable hard tonneau cover by opening and closing it 3 times. During this process, lubricate the area with spray silicone. After testing and lubricating, open the hard tonneau cover completely and disconnect the wiring harness from the battery. Drilling draining holes. In this step, drain holes are made to allow water to drain from the bed and to provide an opening to install the cover's wiring harness. Drilling must be done on the sidewalls. First, drill the sidewall drain holes using a 50mm 2-inch hole saw, as indicated. Then, using a 30mm 1-inch hole saw to perform the drilling on the trunk body. Be sure to coat the holes with grease to avoid oxidation in the area. Then, install the rubber grommets into the holes on the body. Their placement is important not only to seal the opening, but to prevent the truck's vibration from cutting the wires and causing a short circuit. Attaching the cover to the truck. Have a friend help you place the tonneau cover onto the sidewalls of the truck bed. To position the hard tonneau cover correctly, push it forward as far as possible, making sure to apply force to the control motor box and not to the tonneau material itself. Then, position 4 G-clamps aligning them according to measurements in the instructions. Fit an aluminum bracket to the side rail and attach its other half to the back side of the rail. Lightly thread the bolts into the G-clamps. Avoid tightening them yet. Having positioned the 4 bolts, give a final tightening to the 2 front G-clamps and then to the 2 at the rear. Side rails must be aligned with each other. Check by measuring the distance between the side rails and the edge of the sidewalls at the front and at the back. The difference between measurements cannot exceed 2 millimeters, 1 inch. In case that occurs, the torque of the brackets must be adjusted with a minimum of 5 Newton meters and a maximum of 12 Newton meters. Passing the wire harness and drains. The harness has short circuit and overcharge protection, but must not be connected to any other electrical part of the pickup, such as the 12-volt power outlets or any other branch of the vehicle's power harness. Before passing the cable into the sidewall, please remove the left fender flares and the wheel well liner. Gasoline truck wiring instruction. Start by placing the harness low, near the battery, avoiding contact with hot or moving parts, ensuring that the harness is well attached and not loose, or in danger of movement or friction against the vehicle. Release the plastic protection on the left side of the pickup. After that, thread the harness towards the rear of the vehicle, near the fuel line. Attach it to the chassis with plastic clamps. It is recommended to apply a clamp every 40 centimeters or 16 inches of cabling. Hybrid truck wiring instruction. For hybrids, the wiring is done inside the vehicle. Using a Phillips screwdriver, pierce the rubber plug indicated and pass the cable through the hole. Then the cable can be pulled across the lower part of the vehicle. The excess length of the harness can be attached close to the battery with the help of a cable tie. It is very important that throughout installation, the harness is not attached next to moving and hot parts, which could cause it to break or melt. Taking the harness into the trunk, it goes towards the wheel well and through the rubber grommet previously installed. After connecting to the battery, connect the harness to the hard tonneau cover. To do this, plug the black harness connector to the tonneau cover connector. Attach the plastic drain connector to the hoses, threading it until tight. Then, fit the rubber ring to the drain and then to the box, turning it 90 degrees clockwise until you feel it click shut. Then, apply silicone spray to the rubber pieces and push the excess cable into the wheel wells in the left wheel box. Complete the attachment of the cable to the drain by using cable ties to mount it to the wheel well, as shown in the video. Then, install the mechanical case cap. For that, position the top cap, ensuring that the outlining sealing rubber faces upwards. Align the 3 holes from tailgate and fix the fastening screws from the installation kit. Next, give the fasteners a final tightening by using a torque of 8 Newton meters. Lock testing. With the tonneau cover closed, engage the lock by turning it counterclockwise and then, on the remote control, press the opening button. At this moment, the tonneau cover should make a noise indicating that it is active but should not move. If one of the sides moves, check for any misalignment to the cover, or check if there is some obstruction preventing the cover from moving completely. Rubber bulkhead seals. The first rubber seal to be applied is the one for the top part of the rear cap. To do that, you should close the cover completely, move the safety lock, and clean all the areas using isopropyl alcohol, waiting for its complete evaporation. Then apply the primer, allowing 5 minutes before gluing the rubber sealing strip. It is essential for the rubber sealing strip to be secure, to resist weather, and to not come loose over time. Place the rubber piece close to the tonneau cover, keeping approximately 2 millimeters or 1 inch of distance in relation to the side rail, with the rubber liner being removed while it is being applied. The excess rubber must be cut off, keeping the same 2 millimeter or 1 inch distance from the rail. Using a soft hammer, tap the entire length of the attached rubber for optimal adherence. Then remove the side bolts from the inside of the bed walls, which will be used to fasten the side deflectors. Then glue the side rubber pieces from the sealing kit. For this, cut the side edges of the trunk protector. Using a heat gun, heat the protector until it becomes soft enough to be cut. Clean the entire application area with isopropyl alcohol, allowing it to evaporate before applying the primer. Be sure to allow at least 5 minutes for the primer to dry before proceeding. Having prepared the area, glue the side rubber pieces from end to end on top of the tailgate, removing the liner tape as you apply the rubber sealant strip. Cut off the excess when finished. Tap the entire length of the glued rubber with a soft hammer for optimal adherence. The next rubber sealant piece to be installed is the one that will be placed on the vertical edges of the sidewalls where the tailgate closes. Open the tailgate and clean the area with isopropyl alcohol. Wait for the product to evaporate, then apply the primer, allowing 5 minutes for the primer to dry before proceeding. Begin installing the lower rubber sealant strip at the point where the side rubber piece ends. If necessary, the excess rubber must be cut. Tap the entire length of the glued rubber with a soft hammer for optimal adherence, allowing a 30-minute interval before closing the tailgate. Coupling the rear drain. Fit the retractable hard tonneau cover rear drains by threading them to the rear holes of the side rails. Then, insert the hose's tips into the existing holes on the side deflectors of the sealing kit, cutting the excess if necessary. Accessories. After the full installation of the hard tonneau cover, it is possible to install other accessories, since there are channels in the side rails that allow for the installation of accessories without the need for drilling holes. It is important to bear in mind that any accessories can only be added after the complete installation of the hard tonneau cover to the vehicle. Keko offers an attachment kit that works with the Maverick sport bars. To install the accessories, remove the rubber sealant strips from the channels in the side rails. Reinstall the rubber trim pieces after the accessories are installed, trimming them as necessary. Fit the hammer nut to the rail by turning it 90 degrees. Attach the bases loosely, without final tightening, adjusting them according to the roll bar position. Then, attach the installed base with the sport bar tube. Make sure that there is space between the roll bar and the pickup's cab to avoid friction. To install the sport bar extension, make sure that the larger support is attached at the front and the smaller to the rear. Attach tubes to the support brackets on the sidewall rails, following the same attachment procedure as the sport bar bases. After finishing attaching the pieces, we recommend that you completely close the hard tonneau cover to check for fit before tightening the bolts. Then, attach the union joint bolts between the sport bar and the extension, and place the bolt caps on the exposed bolt tops. Finally, once again, attach the finishing rubber sealant strips to the channels in the side rails. Trimming is necessary. It is important to make sure that the sport bar is installed carefully, as forcing it may result in damage to the assembly. Installation tips. Manual retractable hard tonneau cover. As for the manual hard tonneau cover, 2 people are needed to perform lubrication and testing. One person holds and sprays silicone to the side of the case while the other lifts the mat. This procedure must be repeated up to 3 times on each side. During the lock test, make sure that the locks on both sides are closed. For that, the top must be lightly pushed, forcing its opening, and observing whether any of these sides fail to resist the effort. If it happens, check the mat for misalignments or for the existence of any obstruction that prevents the top from completing its movement.